What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about the current state of the crypto markets today. Doing a little update, talking about some things that I feel like are circulating throughout the space, points of concern, points of excitement, all that good stuff. If that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get into this, you guys. So first off, I do want to say that Bitcoin, yes, has seen lower lows. We've gone below my low call targets. By like 0.8%. We could go lower. It's very possible that Bitcoin could go lower. We hit 112K. We could go down. I mean, there's feasibility to go down to about 110K or even 108K at this point in time. We really could see it. And if it happens, it might be some kind of flash crash that happens really fast, and then we come back up. Maybe there'll be some kind of news-driven event that takes place that's like a negative news event that comes out at the bottom, and that's the reason why we dropped. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not necessarily calling for us to go lower or that low. I'm just saying it is possible, and it's something that we should all be aware of, right? XRP, Ethereum, both at higher lows right now. They could see lower lows too. At this point in time, I'm going back and forth with XRP on if it's found its low or if it's going to go lower. I kind of do think it is going to go a little bit lower. I'm pretty convinced that Ethereum's found its low. So we're at that point where even if XRP does go lower, even if Ethereum goes lower, Bitcoin has seen a lower low today, and XRP and Ethereum are actually at higher lows. I'm talking about XRP and Ethereum because those are the top two coins after Bitcoin, right? They're kind of the market leaders. So they're showing a little bit of resilience, a little bit of health, right? We bounced up yesterday and now we're coming back down a little bit today. That's okay. Regardless if we go lower or not, we're showing signs that we are very near the end of this shakeout phase, right? And maybe it finishes, as it does sometimes, with a nice little flash crash to the downside. Again, I'm not calling for that, and I've said that throughout like basically every video I've made today, is that I'm not calling for a flash crash. That's not the expectation, right? If we don't flash crash, that's the expectation that I'm having right now. But I'm just putting us on notice that some kind of flash crash could happen. When I say flash crash, I mean we're at 112K right now, down to 108K. That's really not that big of a deal for Bitcoin. What that could imply for altcoins, maybe 10% drops, 20% drops for various altcoins could happen, but nothing too crazy. Nothing crazy like what we're accustomed to really in these flash crash events. In the bull market, I don't think that we're going to see anything too nuts. I think most of the drop has already happened, but clear out some long positions, leveraged positions, and then get ready to move up higher. We do have the FOMC meeting coming up next month in September. I realized in a couple of videos I said that it's coming up tomorrow. I don't know why I said that. I meant to say next month. I said tomorrow. It's like one of those moments where you confuse a word. I said it like twice, and then I thought I was about to say it in this video, and I'm like, wait, it's not tomorrow. It's next month. I forget when it is. Hold on, let me look up here real quick. Let me see. Hold on. When is the next FOMC meeting? I know it's in September, but where is it? September 16th, September 17th. Actually, let's look at this article real quick. Okay, hold on. If we look, oh, it's on a different. Damn it, I have it on a different tab. That's okay. I can just read it to you, and we don't have to look at it. I can just read it to you real quick. So, September rate cut probability. The next FOMC meeting is on September 16th to 17th, when the summary of economic projections carrying the dot plot will also be announced. 83% of interest rate traders predicted a 25 basis point reduction in the federal funds rate during the upcoming FOMC meeting. So 85% of interest rate traders seem to think that we are going to get a cut. So it's very likely that we do get a cut. I've been seeing this rhetoric spreading around that we're not going to get a cut. And maybe we do, maybe we don't. It's not a big deal. Even if we don't get a cut, who cares? But at this point, it's actually looking like we are going to get rate cuts. And I think we might even get a 50 basis point rate cut. We'll see. But 25 basis points or more. Inflation and jobs. Inflation is trending lower, but not yet within the Fed's target range. They want us to be at negative rates, you guys. And looking sticky. In July, the consumer price index CPI remained at 2.7, the same as June, but the core CPI jumped to 3.1 from 2.9 the previous month. Well, the previous month though, that's so the previous month of June, or the previous month of July. So back in June. Also, Goldman Sachs economists predict a 3.2 increase in core personal consumption expenditures by 2025. What does that mean? It doesn't say by the end of 2020. It just says by 2025. Primarily due to tariffs as businesses pass. That's just some BS, right? Because I don't know about you guys, but anybody living in America, I haven't noticed my cost of goods go up at all, personally. I'm spending the same month to month that I have been before these tariffs happened. I think that the media just really wants to paint things in a negative light. The economy's doing good, actually, right? We have a surplus of things. We have a surplus of revenue from these tariffs, actually. It's been good for the American economy. It's been proven. That's actually why we've seen new all-time highs in the midst of these tariffs being put on the 1st of August, right? We had a whole new round of tariffs being put on, and we still saw new all-time highs, just as we predicted back at the end of July that everybody's wrong, or not wrong, but they're misconstruing what these tariffs are going to do for the economy. Back in February, the markets were negatively impacted because we didn't know what kind of impact they would have. But then they were proven to be good. It was actually good for the economy, and that's proven. If you don't think that that's proven at this point, you're not looking at the data. You're just listening to talking heads on the media, and that's okay. But look at the data. It's the markets are doing fine. The economy is actually recovering. We've got good stuff going on, you guys. And the cost of goods has not gone up. We have not caused a great recession or any of that stuff. All the stuff that the media has warned against or heralded against is just BS at this point, right? And that's why I said confidently back in July, whenever these new round of tariffs got put on August 1st, that we would probably pump as a result of this, right? We dumped a little bit at first. Yes, the beginning of August was a little bit of a dump, but we came back up and we pumped and we saw new all-time highs. Even in the midst of these tariffs, Ethereum broke out and saw new relative highs. It broke out of its range that it's been in for a year and a half, even in the midst of these tariffs. So I think that we're going to see some growth. I really do think that we're going to continue to move up. But just in the meantime, getting back to focus here with this FOMC meeting, it's looking like we are going to get interest rates to be cut. So I really would expect that going into September. A lot of people are calling for September to be a bloodbath or a red month, but every September now, or at least the last since I've had my YouTube channel, every September now I've called for the opposite, not a bloodbath, but a green September, and we've had 2 green Septembers in a row. This will be the 3rd one in a row that I think will have a green September. People misconstrue the reality of September. Okay, September typically is a red month. If you go back and you add up all the months for Bitcoin, red or green, the reds win. There are more reds. But if you put it with a specific parameter, like we do here on this channel every single time, we look at September as red, green, and neutral. What's a neutral month? That's a month where we close up 10% or less than 10% or down less than 10%. I might even make that metric like 8% or less, because typically we do close up or down 8% or less. If Bitcoin can't even move up or down 8% in one whole month, that's a pretty neutral month. And typically all those red months that we see in September, they're typically less than 7% or less than 8% to the red side, right? And they come back up. So in the last 2 Septembers, we've actually had green months. So everybody's not everybody, but I hear a lot of people saying that the Fed won't cut interest rates, and so that's going to impact the price negatively. It hasn't impacted the price negatively this whole cycle. We've been moving up still, even without that. So that's BS. Saying that September is going to be a bloodbath. People are expecting negative things in September. That tells me already, especially with the current sentiment right now, we're probably going to have a good September. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if we pumped into the end of August. We did have this end of August rally, and then because I'm expecting good things to happen in September, I wouldn't be surprised if we did move down a little bit during the first week of September, getting that confirmation bias in there for the average person thinking it's going to be a bloodbath, and then we come back up by the end of the month and close green like we have the last 2 Septembers. That would be kind of my expectation. But if we look at this is something that I did want to pull up here. Hold on, let me. We've got this pulled up. Not this. Although we can look at this, the interest rates haven't been changed. They literally haven't been changed since November of last year. Changed right before the election there, but have not changed since. If we're looking at poly market here, this is the first time that I've seen that the 25 basis points decrease was above 50% or even above like 20%. And poly market's pretty damn accurate, man. They're pretty damn accurate. So I trust that. No change, 40%. I mean, it's likely, guys. At this point in time, it's likely. And beyond all this, beyond poly market saying this, beyond the interest rate traders, 83% of them saying we're going to get a rate cut in September. Maybe it's 25 basis points. Maybe it's 50 basis points. But beyond that, Jerome Powell, over the past couple of months, has indicated that September would be the month that if things didn't kick up with tariffs, if negative impacts in the market weren't perceived, if inflation was still kept under wraps, by September, that they're open to cutting rates in September, right? The last time that they mentioned that they were open to doing rate cuts was like May, and they haven't shown any kind of inclination that they were interested in cutting rates since then. He's talked about September being the month, and so have people who analyze the Fed over the past few months now. So this is something that's actually been anticipated. It's kind of been expected. As much as people want to pretend that Jerome Powell is a shady figure, and maybe he is, maybe he isn't. He's in finance after all. he's pretty transparent whenever it comes to this stuff. And if you just listen, and you treat it as if there's no kind of hidden agenda behind it, it's just plain words. He's actually pretty transparent with what the reality of expectations should be. I don't really know what else to say, you guys. All I'm really talking about here in this video is that I do think we're going to get rate cuts in September. I do think that the market is actually primed to pump in September, and here we are at the end of the month of August. We'll probably pump going into the end of August here. We'll have a nice end of month rally, and then go into September and probably see a little bit of a drop, and then recover the rest of the month. September should overall be a good month, and I think October will be a good month too. If not, maybe October's a little bit neutral as well, but going into the end of the year, it's going to be good, all that stuff. We are braving the storm right now. Prices have seen lower lows, right? We're bouncing right now. We're up at 112.5K now. We could go lower. Absolutely, we could. The Bitcoin liquidations, if we look at this here, go all the way up to BTC, at least over the past week, past 7 days, there's still a wall of longs to liquidate at about 110K. So again, if we crash real quick down to 110K or even a little bit below there, we take out these longs too at 108K. Cool, do that, come back up. We've shown a lot of significance on this 1272 Fibonacci extension. If we look at this here, right, from a low to a high, we could go to 108K. That's the 1272. Okay, we found a lot of significance there. Let me prove it real quick before we end the video. Okay, if we take a, let's see, we take a high to a low here, right? Come on now. High to low right here. We can see that there's, we found a lot of significance there at that 1272. If we go out to the prior cycles high to low right here, all the way back in 2021 November to the bear market low in 2022 December, or November, sorry, high to low, found some significance at the 1272 there, found it as resistance, then came up, found it as support. It wouldn't be crazy in the least that if we saw some kind of flash crash down, that we go down to about 108.7K, clear out all these longs, pile on some shorts. And that, again, if that happens, I'm not saying that will happen. That's not the call. I don't mean to confuse anybody. The call right now is that we either are at our low or we're very near our low. But if in the event that we do go lower, this is kind of the area to expect. I'm not talking about this, and some people, they'll in the comments say, you're just saying this so you can be right. If it goes up, if it goes down, you're just trying to be right. I know YouTubers do that. I know that in this space. I'm not one of those guys. I don't care to be one of those guys. I'm okay with being wrong. It's okay to be wrong. I kind of hope I'm wrong. I kind of hope that we do go down, because if we go down, then we have cheaper prices to buy and we can load up more. There's something positive to take away from that. But so again, my expectation is that we do find our low soon, or we already have found our low and we'll be moving up. I wouldn't be surprised we went a little bit lower from here. It could happen, but the call is that we're basically at our lows, okay? If not at our lows, plainly. But I'm more putting it on notice that we could drop to 110 to 108K, 108.7K, somewhere around there, because if it happens, at least we're aware of what to expect, right? And that's better than not being aware and being totally caught off guard. It's a lot better for your emotional well-being, right? And I know, like, for me, I don't care. Drop to 100K. Emotionally, I'm going to be fine. But there's a lot of people in their first cycle who you get knocked off your rocker whenever that kind of stuff happens. And it happens a lot. It actually happens a lot. Shakeouts and flash crashes before we move up, before we have that next big phase up. It happens all the time. We clear out all the leverage positions. We move down super fast. We don't give people time to short. And then by the time they do short, we move up super fast. We don't give people time to long. And people are scared and timid, even if it's back at the same price that right now seems like such an obvious low. If we dipped and then we came back, people will be more hesitant to go long at these levels. You know what I mean? So that allows for the market to move up higher. You want there to be low leverage positions, or at least percentages of leverage positions, as you're moving higher. It's healthier for the market. But I don't have anything else to say, man. I'm just talking at this point, so I'm going to end the video there. Prepare for anything. I am calling for the lows, and I've been wrong by like 1% for Bitcoin. So far, XRP and Ethereum, the lows are in, but I kind of am expecting that XRP sees a lower low. I could be wrong on that. There's definitely a possibility that if by the end of today we come up a little bit, that call is wrong. And maybe I'll make a video in another video for XRP to rectify that. But I'm talking at this point, so I'm going to end the video there. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.